Years of sweat and dedication has led to this, as all seniors today will get their flowers and congratulations in honor of Senior Night, and what a game it's going to be for that. Hello everybody, I'm your host Brady Chesler, alongside me my co-host Tyja Knowles, from Carlsbad, Roy Kane and Luke Schultz, and joining us our guest star, we have AP Mr. Minlin. Now we have a great game in store for you as the number 2 ranked Carlsbad Lancers come in to take on the number 7th ranked San Marcos Knights, and this is going to be actually a historic game for the San Marcos program, as it's their first game back in the Avocado League since 2022, or first home game. Last week, first game in Avocado League, unfortunately lost to LCC. Looking to turn things around. And Tyja, what has San Marcos done to improve since they left Avocado League back in 2022?
I mean, we've had a lot of transfers. That's a big one. Previously, we haven't had many transfers come into the school, but we've opened up the opportunity for that, and it's been success ever since that's happened.
Certainly. And then looking at this match alone, going to the Avocado League, that's obviously one of the most prestigious leagues to play in, with teams like Mission Hills, LCC, and Carlsbad one of them, and that was one of the teams that San Marcos used to have to face year in, year out, and their last matchup was back in 2022, which didn't fare too well for the Knights. Carlsbad ended up winning 42-7 in a dominant win at home. Julian Sayan, who threw 10 for 16, 270 pass yards and 2 pass touchdowns. Now he's the quarterback at the number 1 team in the nation, Ohio State. So looking over at Carlsbad, how can they just recreate their previous performance against San Marcos?
Yeah, I think I always talk about this with Luke and a lot of guys at the school, and people always talk about Julian coming in here 5-star. How does kind of Eli McNeil fill that space? And I tell a lot of people this, I talk to Coach Mack all the time, but really people don't believe that this offense and everything we do in this program is the exact same from the years 2022 to 2024 with Julian to now. Like, whether you're a 5-star, whether you're unranked, Coach Mack doesn't change any type of play. Whether you have 4 D1 wide receivers, that doesn't mean Coach Mack's going to throw it more. So this year, people are like, well, how's the game plan changed? How has he gone from Julian Sayan to Eli McNeil? How is he filling those shoes? But it's really, I think, the defense this year, and that's kind of the big thing that a lot of people have been talking about with Carlsbad, moving into scenarios like hypotheticals, like what would be like if this 2024 team that lost to Granite Hills in the open division with Julian had this year's defense. So I think the defense is going to be a huge factor in tonight's game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Roy said it pretty perfectly there. I mean, everyone's talking about the offense so far this year, and the defense has really done a lot of special things. Like Sean Cranford already has 9.5 sacks there on the defensive side, and Chase Harris, an absolute baller. Yeah, I think especially after losing Julian, Eli's really stepped up. Last year had a pretty solid year. Not everyone was talking about it, but this year really has a really good year. Already has 20 passing touchdowns and no interceptions. But yeah, this Carlsbad team also coming off a really big win last week at Mission Hills. So I think they're riding a high going in this one, and it should be a fun one here tonight.
Certainly, and you talk about that defense, only giving up 20 points total in their 2 league games. That's definitely something to highlight. And then turning back over to the San Marcos side, Mr. Minlin, what do you think are some adjustments that San Marcos makes in this rematch?
Yeah, so I was actually at the game a couple years ago. It was obviously, it's a rough night for us. But what I love about us coming back into the Avocado League is then we're competing against the best of the best, right? In all of San Diego County, that's the deepest league in the entire county, and we're having to step our game up in order to rise up to the competition that we're facing. So, specific adjustments. Crete being a couple years older and being that much more experience, I think is huge for our team, and hopefully that can, if nothing else, close the gap and maybe, who knows, come out with a win tonight.
And you talk about Crete, that's definitely one of the big headlines going into this game. As you look at those teams, Crete Makahele, quarterback for San Marcos, the only returner in this game from both sides. Obviously, we mentioned one of the big departures was 5-star quarterback Julian Sayan, and now Eli McNeil has taken over that role. And then looking over at San Marcos with Crete, Crete has been able to just go through a bunch of weapons in his 4 years here. He's been moving through different receivers, different running backs every year. So, Tyja, how do you think Crete's going to approach this game with the new weapons he has this year?
I mean, he obviously wants to limit the turnovers. He had a couple last game. He obviously wants to get that on locks, dial that in. He just wants to find his receivers, find whatever play he needs. He needs his O-line, his offense to just execute it. As long as that happens, he should be good. He'll have a smooth game.
And definitely it was a rough game last week for the San Marcos Knights, especially on the offensive side. 4 turnovers in any game, that's going to be pretty hard to come back. They made a valiant effort but couldn't quite get it done, and that's just what happens when you give the ball away 4 times. And you look, that's kind of been a common trend in a lot of their losses this year. Both the Mount Miguel game and the LCC game, 4 turnovers in each of those ones. It's just been a big problem. So how is San Marcos going to be able to limit turnovers from this point moving forward?
Well, what I would say to that is I think we're going to have a good balance between our run game and our pass game. We've got a stud with Zamar, running the ball and doing an amazing job. I think if we do limit the mistakes and we have that nice balance where we got our running game rolling and that opens it up for Crete in the passing game, then I think we've got a chance in the game tonight.
Exactly. When players get tired, it starts to get sloppy. So they just got to stay sharp the whole game, try to stay up, hydrate, and just get through their routes, finish their routes. I saw a couple where the route wasn't finished, it was an interception. So as long as we do that, it's smooth sailing.
And then looking at Carlsbad, turnovers and losses, certainly not a problem for this team. They come in undefeated, 7-0, 2-0 in avocado games. Huge wins over teams like El Camino, Torrey Pines, Mission Hills, Poway. They've been just getting it done at home. They've been getting it done on the road. They've been getting it done in big ways. They've moved up to number 2 now in San Diego after that win against Mission Hills last week, number 15 in California. So how does this team, how have they just been absolutely dominant this season?
Yeah, I think the dominance really comes from, going back to it, the defense, but I want to account to the depth. Last year's team, that 2025 team, especially that group of seniors, we didn't have too much depth. We had a lot of younger guys starting from sophomores to juniors, and that's why a lot of this team is senior heavy with a couple guys, juniors, that are second-year starters now. But I think the depth is a big key, and I go back to the running back room. We go from Kai Brown averaging around 93 yards a game right now on the ground. Then right after that, you go to more of a receiving back, can play slot, Darian Webb, the transfer from Jay Sarah, 2027, young guy, junior. And then you go to even a younger guy, a sophomore, class of 2028, hard steel, Ian Wall. We can have these guys be so durable with the amount of time they have in between plays and the amount of versatility through these 3 halfbacks, and I think the depth is really big. And on the defensive side, we have guys right now, Jackson Overall, senior safety, out with a concussion, but then we have a guy, junior, Brett, who steps in, lacrosse guy, but the depth is really there. We have experience, and I think it really is going to help this team tonight to balance out this type of game.
Yeah, Roy touched on there, the depth of this team is really very good. And last year, our team really young. This year, we're coming back with a lot of more talent this year, and the depth there, especially with the amount of seniors that we have this year. Our running backs are loaded with talent, and it's just going to keep coming. But yeah, I think the boys are looking good, and yeah.
Yeah, and you talk about this depth and how this roster's kind of been moving, getting older, a little bit more experience. That was certainly seen last year, a little bit of an off year for you guys by your standards, 8-4, 3-2 in league. Not quite the Carlsbad standards that you expect, but now they've definitely gotten it back going. That chemistry is there. Everyone's more experienced, stronger, bigger, faster. They're certainly back to where they need to be, and that ranking definitely shows it. How do you think having a ranking of just that status impacts this team?
Yeah, I was thinking about this one, the ranking. I think on a coaching perspective, through Coach Mack, our defensive coordinator, Coach Pub, I think ranking is the most, to this team, Carlsbad, very irrelevant. It's one of the most irrelevant things to this team. I think they look nothing into the rankings, and they're playing it week by week. They're treating every team like it's a huge league game, like Mission Hills, like LCC, and preparing for the bigger games, looking forward into open like Lincoln. We're treating games like this, an away game at San Marcos, a lot of talent on both sides. We're going into this, we're full game planning, meetings every week. This team's dialed in, and I don't think we're taking anything for granted right now.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously we're ranked number 2 right now in San Diego, but I think each week Coach Mack is taking it week by week, playing each game differently, and obviously next week we have LCC, but I think he's just looking at this one right now. He's planning to get the boys down in for this one, and yeah, I don't think they're thinking too much about that ranking, and they're just going week by week and trying to dominate.
Yeah.
And week by week is definitely something you got to think about in this league, especially when it gets later in the year and you got to start facing these tough league opponents. It's going to be hard. You got to game plan every single week. hard practices. Got to make sure you're prepared. And San Marcos, it's definitely going to be a test up ahead. They already had their first test of the season, their first game back in Avocado with LCC, where they unfortunately lost that one, and the schedule just gets harder from there on. Obviously, they got Carlsbad tonight. Next week, they got to go to Torrey, which can be a sneaky one if you're not really prepared. And then finally, the big one, the biggest game of the season for San Marcos every single year, Mission Hills at home in the Discovery Bowl. And having a gauntlet of a schedule like this is just going to be a grind. And Taja, how can San Marcos just approach the rest of the season with this tough schedule coming out?
Yeah, the rest of the season they just got Avocado League, like you said, the biggest league in San Diego. So I mean, these guys are just the real deal. So San Marcos needs to come into this and really lock in, get their plays dialed in, get their chemistry dialed in, work as a team, and it'll all execute fine.
I think it's interesting. I think neither team can really look at the rankings,
Yeah.
right? The danger in Carlsbad looking at the ranking is you get your head a little bit too big, you let
100%.
down, and you might get surprised by a team like San Marcos. We're dangerous,
Exactly.
right? We can pull it out if we play a really tight game. Same thing for San Marcos. We can't be looking at a number 2 ranked team and hanging our heads and being worried about the outcome, right? We got to
100%.
focus just on the game, our game plan. Work our game plan so that we're dialed into what our coaches are instructing our kids to do. And if we're committed to that and we're not worried about as much what that ranking is, then we've got a shot.
100%.
Looking forward to it. All right, we're going to take a quick intermission, and when we come back, we'll be joined by a new San Marcos guest star. And we are back. Once again, I'm your host, Brady Chesler, and now joining with us, San Marcos student Morgan Gallo. Morgan, how do you feel to be with us right now?
I'm really excited. This is something really cool. I'm really happy to be a part of it.
All right, we're great. Really happy to have you on here. So, going back to what we were saying last time, talking about these dominant teams and this matchup we're looking forward to. And, you know, one of the advantages that San Marcos has, it's not going to be on the field, but over in the stands, as San Marcos, their reputation has one of the best student sections in all of San Diego. They're a multiple-time Battle of the Fans champions. The Blue Crew is, you know, just something like no other. Morgan, what kind of impact does the student section make in this game?
I mean, I think the student section, like, obviously people come for the football game, but the student section is just what makes it, like, so unique and so fun at San Marcos. It's something, like, it's inclusive. It's something everyone can do. Everyone is a part of it. Like, everyone's in Blue Crew. It's just so much fun.
And then Taja, obviously you being one of our Blue Crew leaders, you kind of get that experience to see what this student section is like, you know, what music is going on, what events you guys are planning. You get to see all behind the scenes, and you just get to see the payoff at the very end. You know, what is it like being a Blue Crew member, seeing what our student section is capable of and what they do week in and week out for our football program?
I mean, being down there at the front and looking up at the loud, hype crowd is just awesome. It's just an awesome experience. But it all starts in the classroom. We have to do all the planning. We have to learn all the chants. So it really starts in the classroom. But once we get out here, it's game time. Like, we got to be ready. And the energy that comes from the student section really reflects onto the football players. I mean, the more energy we have, the more energy they will have. So it really does affect the football game and the players a lot.
And a loud, hype crowd is a definitely great way to describe the San Marcos fan section, but it also is a great way to describe the Carlsbad fan section, as they are also well known for having one of the best student sections in San Diego. Can you tell us a little bit about the student section, just what impact it makes at Carlsbad football games?
Yeah, you said in San Diego, but we take pride in being the best loud crowd in the nation. A couple years ago, we runner-up for number 2 loud crowd in the nation. So we take a lot of pride in the loud crowd over at Carlsbad, but we also love to see what you guys do here with the Blue Crew. And I mean, kind of the big thing that we just put together over ASB Loud Crowd Carlsbad was for our homecoming game versus Torrey Pines. We had the first ever drone show in San Diego history for a high school football game. We usually do fireworks after, but then ASB, they got wake up early morning, Saturday, go pick up all the fireworks stuff. So this year with the drone show, we got to sleep in the next morning, get dialed in. But yeah, loud crowd, we love it over here. But Blue Crew does do a great job as well, so kudos to you guys.
Yeah, loud crowd definitely always making an impact. You guys trying to step up every single time you guys have a game, trying to get better and better. It's definitely just a wonderful experience to see. And then you are a member of the loud crowd yourself. And just like Taja, what kind of experience is it like to just see the student section get loud like that and just get really, really energetic?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a huge impact. We're trying to kind of this year incorporate more of just, you know, waving the palms, going through the motions, and more getting the chants going, defense, you know, actually being impact. Because when you look to the college football side, you look at FSU, they do the chop, you know, you go to Virginia Tech, Enter Sandman. I mean, that atmosphere is all built around the fans, and the whole game, I wouldn't say it's based off the fans, but it definitely is an impact. I mean, you see in the whiteout game, that is hyped up to be one of the biggest games for those teams traveling into that stadium. And so when people play Carlsbad, that's our mission, is if they've never played there before, we want them to walk out and we want them to be like, wow, like we've never experienced that. For example, we played Inglewood my freshman year. I'm a senior now, my freshman year. So 2022, and Inglewood traveled down all the way from Inglewood, came down to Carlsbad. We lost, unfortunately. I mean, they had some studs. Jamari Johnson now tight end for Oregon. I mean, they had some dudes, but they came out of there. Every single dancer, every single cheer member from Inglewood, their ASB director traveled down after the game. They came up to us and they're like, we've never seen anything like this. Like, you guys are going to inspire us to maybe build kind of a loud crowd there. And like, that's kind of the biggest thing for us, is when another school comes over, maybe shoots us a DM. How do you guys do this? Like, what do you guys do for the CO2 cannons? Like, stuff like that. I mean, when we're inspiring other schools and making other people want to go do other things, we're not gatekeeping anything. We want everyone to have a giant atmosphere and kind of set the tone for San Diego and nationwide.
Yeah, I think Roy touched on it pretty well there. Carlsbad's got really dialed in loud crowd, but I think the fans at the end of the day keep you in the game. For example, Michigan, Penn State, 2019, whiteout. Michigan didn't even get the snap off the first play of the game. Fans can totally change the game. I think they're a big part, and we're going to see it tonight. That Carlsbad's going to be down in with them.
I know. I'm very curious to see what kind of the noise factor is here. I mean, this is a pretty hyped up game.
Yeah.
Carlsbad, like you said, we don't really like to talk about the rankings, but we are number 2 in Open, followed by Lincoln. I mean, like, I'm hoping to see this packed out crowd tonight.
Should be a good battle of the fans tonight. And you talk about that student section, definitely made an impact on the field too. As you look at Carlsbad's record since 2021, 46-8, 22-2 in Avocado League, with those 2 losses in league just coming from last year. So that student section definitely helping out this team for sure, whether it's on the road or at home, they're doing it everywhere. And how has Carlsbad just been able to remain so consistent through all these years?
Through football, loud crowd, or
Just
everything.
that football, just on the field, they're producing year in and year out. Those records are just things to marvel at.
Yeah, I think a lot of it gives pride to Nick, or I say Nick Saban, but Coach Mack is, like, in my eyes, kind of the Nick Saban of high school football. I mean, he brings guys in. He's such a player personnel type coach too, and I think he makes these guys so good from work ethic. I mean, I've never seen other schools train the way Carlsbad does. I mean, the way we put in the work in the off season, we're due to put up numbers. We're due to have results that we see. I mean, these guys train their butts off, and it really shows the results besides last year. I mean, those dudes, I think a lot of it also too is talent. We develop really well from that younger stage. I mean, by freshman year, some guys, they never touch the field, and then junior year, they're starting, you know? I think our development's really the big thing, and I think also the O-line. A lot of people don't really look at the O-line as something that consistently stays out through the years, but you can't win a big game if you don't have an O-line, or you constantly can't get the ball on pressure and you can't run the rock. Because I'm a big Seahawks guy, Washington fan. So, and a big thing about the Legion of Boom, if you can take away one part of a game, you can control the game, because then you know what's coming. And so I feel like Carlsbad, they've never kind of had that problem where we can't do something, and when you can do something, then you can alter it. You run it all right up their throat, then you go right to a pass, you know? So that's kind of the idea. I think O-line gets not enough credit for what they do and what type of system we run through Carlsbad.
Yeah, I think Royce said it pretty much all right there. That Carlsbad's been kind of like the staple of San Diego football here the last couple of years. I mean, you said it, they were 22-2 in Avocado, and those 2 losses coming in last year, and we're seeing it again this year, a pretty dominant start, but I think it is all sides of the ball. As he touched on the O-line, they've been dominant this year. Eli hasn't really been sacked at all.
One sack on the year.
1 sack on the whole season. That's something you got to credit the O-line to, and the defensive line as well.
Yeah.
And we said it earlier in the show, the depth too. Can never go too wrong with the depth, so yeah.
Definitely. All right, we're going to go to another intermission. When we come back, we'll dive into a little deeper into some players, as well as some big news around North County, and we'll be joined by another guest star. Marcos High School Game Day. Now joining us, ASB co-president AJ Turner. Second appearance back on the show. AJ, how does it feel to come back?
Dude, I absolutely love it. Like I said last time, it's absolutely fantastic that ASB was able to put something like this on.
Certainly. Well, glad to have you back. Now, looking at some players that are going to make some impacts in this game, looking at San Marcos, who do you think is going to be that impact player today?
For sure, man. I appreciate that question. I really think that Tamar Reese is going to be that impact player. As we've seen previously, even LCC getting beat up, that was terrible. But the thing is that he did have over 150 rushing yards with a total of 4 touchdowns. That was the 4 total touchdowns we had at San Marcos High School, and he had it. It was absolutely fantastic. Also, Cutter Voorhees and Ezekiel McIntyre has been a very good unit as well. Having a strong receiving core is something that's very, very effective. I'd say it allows us to open up both the rushing and the passing game. So yeah, that's who I got for you right now.
Yeah, Zamar Reese, definitely one of the biggest players on this team. He's the leading rusher and leading receiver for San Marcos as well, has 23 total touchdowns. That ranks 4th in California, not just San Diego, but California, which is one of the hardest places to play. So making quite a statement, for the Silver Pigskin, putting up quite a show. And looking over at Carlsbad, who are some guys that we should be looking out for tonight?
Yeah, I think key guys that we like to touch on is Rocky Cummins, the Cal commit. Recently just committed to Cal, tight end and kind of rover linebacker type spec. But he's been balling. He's kind of heated up coming out of from that week 4 into this week 7 stretch. These last 3 weeks, he came up with 2 touchdowns last week, and I would like to see him continue that. And then I already touched on the running back room, but I think I'll go to the transfers really. From Jay Sarah, Travis Jeffrey, our defensive back and wide receiver, plays both ways, and then Darian Webb, both juniors, the running back slot and plays linebacker. I think these guys are the factors in tonight, and a lot of you mentioned the stat of the points that we're holding our opponents to, and I think that comes to the guys on the outside. Tad Mitchell, another junior defensive back, Travis Jeffrey, we put Ethan Meyerhoff over the top, Sky Schaefer. I mean, a lot of these guys are kind of built for these kind of moments, strap down, lock down, and I think that's why we are holding the numbers to what we have right now.
Yeah, Roy mentioned there one thing, the transfers, they came here for one thing, and that was to win. I think one thing Roy didn't really mention here is, I mentioned a little bit earlier in the show, is that defense. Chase Harris averaging 7.6 tackles per game, and then a Sean Cranford, an absolute menace, 6 foot 230. Big fella in the weight room, benching 335
we got the
with a
stats on paper.
585 deadlift and 535 squat.
And 2 defensive player of the weeks from Dago football. Someone to mention
Absolute
right there.
stud.
Monster of a man right there. And obviously the captain of this team, the head, Eli McNeil, has also been putting on quite a show.
For sure.
Had a pretty good season stepping in for Julian Sayin last year. But this year he has just been getting it done, especially the efficiency. 20 pass touchdowns to 0 interceptions. That is just a stat that is absurd to have 0 interceptions in a section like this. And just what has he been able to do to improve from last year?
Yeah, so a lot of these bad interceptions last year came from just misplaced balls, but he was also injured basically the whole year. He had a shoulder injury, and not many people, like when I bring it up, they're like, oh no, he didn't, that's the excuse. But really, he had a bad shoulder injury, and when he's healthy, you don't just get this good overnight. That just shows he was fatigued last year. He comes into this year, he checks down multiple times, reads through his routine. But I think another big thing is Eli McNeil is one of the smarter quarterbacks and maybe the smartest in high school football in San Diego. His ability to run an offense and make things happen in the huddle. And that's what a lot of people don't look at, is how you can really manage a game in the huddle. I mean, we have a great backup quarterback from Antonio, JV guy, moved up to varsity, younger guy, 2028, and people are like, why isn't this guy starting after Eli didn't have the greatest performance last year? But it's really how you can run that offense. And Eli McNeil, he goes into every game, runs a smooth ship, and it shows. He's 20 touchdowns, 0 INTs, 78% completion rate. I mean, if you're using college football, that's Heisman numbers right there.
Yeah, I think also another thing for Eli McNeil last year, he's a little inexperienced. I mean, taking over for Julian Sand, some big role to fill.
Shoes
Yeah,
to fill
big
right
shoes
there.
to fill right there. But yeah, he's already off to a great start. Obviously, throwing 0 interceptions this year. I think he's really calmed down, and he's had a great start to his year so far, and he really hasn't let the pressure get to him so far.
Now, moving into this last segment of the show, we're going to make some game picks around San Diego. How's that sound, fellas?
Money.
All right, first game on our list, coming with some big news, too, at 7:15. Mission Hills, number 3 team in the nation, at Torrey Pines, number 12 team in the nation. The big, big announcement with Mission Hills. We'll touch on that in a little bit. But, Luke, who do you got?
I could go.
I'll let Rob
Mission
answer
Hills,
first.
Torrey Pines. Mission Hills, I mean, we're coming off a big win against them, by 14, 31-17. I mean, Torrey Pines, we played them on homecoming. They're definitely resilient. They run kind of that wing T spec offense, and it can get a little tricky to contain it, but Mission Hills, they got dudes from the outside, Braden Robertson, the wide receiver, younger dude, 2028 offer from SDSU, and then Troy Hune, I mean, we're touching into him. He just decommitted from Penn State. James Franklin got fired. He's actually has a huge interview tomorrow on College Game Day, which I'm going to be waking up
gonna be an
early to
interesting
watch
one.
because I want to know where this guy's going. And then you go to Troy Hune. I mean, he's kind of in maybe a little bit of a bad mental space right now. You decommit, you kind of open up this commitment that you've been set on for a while. But I think he comes out, statement win, Torrey Pines, and I think they could win this one by 28 plus. Give me Mission Hill Grizzlies.
I like that take. Sorry for the short answer there earlier, but I do like Mission Hills. I like what Roy said there. I think Troy's going to come out dialed in. He's a little angry after what just happened there at Penn State. I think Mission Hills and Troy Hune get a statement win and a big avocado win. And yeah, coming off that Carlsbad loss.
All right, I'll keep the streak going. I got Mission Hills. As much as I don't want to pick them, you got to respect them. And Troy, I think with this decommitment, I think that kind of motivates him. You know, he's going back out there. He's looking for more teams to kind of get a better look at him, and he's going to try to prove why he should be the guy at every single college program. I have Mission Hills winning this one.
I hate to say it, but I have Mission Hills too. Like they said, Troy Hune decommitting is a big factor. He has to really lock back in. I mean, I doubt he ever de-locked in, but yeah, he has to just keep playing until he recommits, and they just have some awesome receivers that Troy Hune throws up the ball, they just go and get it. We love to see it, so those guys are rebels.
Yeah, for sure. And I've also got to agree. I hate to say it as well, but Mission Hills, I mean, obviously that tough loss last week with Carlsbad, 31-17 if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And I just feel like he has something to prove, like they said. He's also got Josh Gonzalez as an outside wideout, who's also a very, very good player. I mean, he's a 2026, not committed anywhere, nothing like that. He transferred 3 different schools in his high school career, but he's been proven to be such a very valuable asset. And then in 2028 as well. So with that being said, give me Mission Hills for this game.
All right, Mission Hills taking a clean sweep. Now looking at the next game, number 13th ranked Oceanside going to undefeated number 10th ranked Rancho Bernardo.
Yeah, I like Oceanside in this game. They got a lot of their transfers back for this game. I think they pull off the upset at Rancho Bernardo. Rancho Bernardo's quarterback did get an offer yesterday from Ohio State, son of former Chargers Eric Weddle. But I do like Oceanside in this game. I think they get a big dub, and yeah.
For me here, not many people know this, but Oceanside got a lot of transfers this year, and they're now eligible. So that's a factor. I mean, they're 13 on paper versus 10 versus Rancho Bernardo. Give me the guys that got new bread coming in. Give me the Pirates.
Yeah, you talk about Oceanside with the transfers, it's definitely going to make a big impact. They were started slow out the gates, now they're starting to pick it up, and with all these guys coming back, certainly will make a difference. However, I don't think it will be enough. As Rancho Bernardo, you want to be undefeated in San Diego, you got to work for it. They're going to work for it, and they're going to keep their undefeated streak at home in a big win.
I mean, this is going to be a close game. I know that for a fact. But I'm going to have to take Rancho Bernardo. They're a great family. They love to get out there and just play. They love the sport of football. So, like I said, I'm going to take Rancho Bernardo.
Although I love these two gentlemen right here at San Marcos High School, I've got to take the Oceanside side on this one. I mean, like they said, I actually didn't know that they were now eligible to play, but they have a fantastic amount of transfers, and they are all very skilled. I think they definitely have something to improve being on the sideline these past few weeks. So give me Oceanside with this one.
All right, that game's going to kick off at 7:15. And finally, the last game we're going to take a look at, the big one of them all, the highlight game of the week. Number 2 ranked Carlsbad, undefeated, going to number 7th ranked San Marcos. The game will kick off at 7:15.
Yeah, I think Carlsbad's going to come out strong tonight, right on that high from the Mission Hills victory last week. I like Carlsbad to get another statement avocado victory heading into that big home game next week against LCC. And then me and Roy do have a little parlay for this game.
But let's get our picks down first.
Real quick.
Okay, Coach Carroll, he runs a great operation here over at San Marcos. I love him. My guy Carson Modigan leads the team in caused fumbles for San Marcos as well, but I can't hype you guys up too much. Carlsbad is very dominant. I think we're the more physical team here. We have more talent. Carlsbad is more experienced in these big games, and I think they're going to dominate in all aspects of the game. Defensive side, offensive side, special teams, anywhere on the field. Carlsbad's going to come out, get this one. Give me them more by 21. Give me the Lancers.
You talk about Carlsbad, how dominant they are, but while that's true, you look over at San Marcos, they got some playmakers. Zamar Reese, one of the best players, if not the best player, that could maybe be a conversation in all of San Diego. Ty Sagaster, the Navy commit's been getting it done on both sides of the ball. Crete Makahele, obviously the captain of this team, getting it done under center. You got guys on the offensive line we were talking about earlier, Parker Allred, Cooper Meyer, and Wyatt Britt. Those guys have been playing with each other forever. They're making a huge impact. Ezekiel McIntyre coming in from Escondido. He's making a huge impact on the defense. You got Cutter Voorhees, Antonio Baca on the ends. Jet Zara, he used to be a quarterback. He's our starting middle linebacker now. I mean, this team is just all around been improving. They've been working together for years and years and years, and now it has finally led up to this. So with that said, give me Carlsbad to come and win this game on the road in a huge statement win.
I mean, it is senior night, so you got to take that into factor. Both these teams are super dominant, just great teams. It's going to be a battle the whole entire game. So we have a ton of seniors on San Marcos, a ton of seniors. So with that being said, I'm going to take San Marcos. They're going to pull it through by about 6-7 points.
Wow, hey, Brady, you surprised me twice today. I mean, I am absolutely amazed that you have that faith in Carlsbad. I mean, honestly, they do have a great line, great offensive team, great defensive team. They have something to prove as well, being undefeated. And I really think that they are a great team in San Diego. However, like we mentioned before, we have Crete Makahele being a 4-year starter, all the way from freshman year to now being a quarterback. And we have Zamar Reese being that unstoppable running back. And then we have Ty Sagaster as well, and our outside wideouts. I think that they will be highly effective during this game. I think they have something to prove. Zamar transferring over here and having his second to last senior game here at San Marcos High School, and Crete Makahele finishing up his football season. I'm going to take San Marcos on this one.
So there you have it. Carlsbad's going to take the panel 3-2. And with that said, that's going to wrap up our show. If you want to check out this game, it will be kicking off at 7:15. You can come down to San Marcos or watch it on NFHS Network. Once again, I'm your host, Brady Chesler. My co-host, Tyja Knowles. From San Marcos, we got Roy Kane, from Carlsbad, Roy Kane, Luke Schultz, and our guest star, AJ Turner. We thank you for joining us at San Marcos High School Game Day.